Welcome to this explainer. Okay, so picture this. You're looking out at a freezing, totally dormant yard and wishing you could still be harvesting fresh, sustainable, and incredibly nutritious food. Sound familiar? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we are exploring the incredible resilience of winter leeks. Over the next few minutes, you're going to learn exactly why growing this cold, hardy vegetable is an absolute game changer for both your garden's productivity and your winter diet. Now, it's pretty easy to look at a heavy frost and think, well, the gardening season is officially dead. But what if I told you your garden could actually survive temperatures as low as -20 degrees Celsius? It completely shatters the whole misconception that winter gardens have to be barren. Well-rooted, established winter leeks can actually survive while completely buried under the snow, literally shrugging off severe frosts that would absolutely destroy your summer crops. So, what's in it for you? Why brave the cold in the first place? Well, winter leeks are an absolute nutritional powerhouse. We're talking packed to the brim with vitamins A, C, and K, plus essential minerals like sodium, potassium, and calcium. Eating these throughout the winter helps boost your immunity, supports muscle activity, and maintains your skin health during the absolute harshest months of the year. Plus, they act as really powerful antioxidants. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for today. 1. Why grow winter leeks? 2. Timing and soil prep. 3. The planting process. 4. Care tips and pests. And 5. Harvesting and storage. Section 1. Why grow winter leeks? The ultimate cold weather crop. To really understand this, we need to look at the specific biology that makes the winter leek, scientifically known as Allium, so incredibly distinct from your everyday summer varieties. See, unlike summer leeks that grow quickly and are harvested in that same season, the winter leek is a biennial, cold-resistant plant. The dropping autumn temperatures actually trigger a much slower growth dynamic. And this slowdown is a massive advantage. It forces the plant to develop darker leaves, incredibly dense tissue, and a much richer, way more intensely spicy flavor. And all that dense tissue translates directly to nutrition. Winter leeks pack a massive punch here, consisting of 13.5% dry matter, nearly 2% protein, and over 10% carbohydrates. To put that into perspective, when fresh food is practically non-existent in the dead of winter, having this reliable, highly nutrition-dense energy source waiting right out there in your garden is just invaluable.
Section 2. Perfect timing and soil prep. Setting the stage.
Now, you might be wondering, when does a winter harvest actually start? Believe it or not, a bountiful winter harvest doesn't just magically happen in November. It actually begins all the way back in the spring. Let's walk through the timeline. In early spring, between March and April, you'll sow your seeds in open beds. Now, while leek seeds can impressively sprout at just 2 to 5 degrees Celsius, they really need a sweet spot of about 18 to 20 degrees for optimal, rapid germination. Then, as a secondary crop, you're going to transplant those seedlings in June or July. Finally, your reward comes in October and November when you harvest them right before the hard, permanent freeze sets in. But before those seeds even touch the dirt, your soil has to be ready. The crucial strategy here is crop rotation. Leeks are fantastic to plant after things like early potatoes, peas, or lettuce, mainly because those crops clear out early and they don't exhaust the soil's nutrients. You'll want to plow about 15 to 18 centimeters deep. But here is the golden rule, the one thing you absolutely must remember. Never ever plant leeks in soil that just grew onions or garlic. They're all in the same family, and doing so is basically an open invitation for lingering diseases to just wipe out your new crop.
Section 3. The step-by-step planting process. From seedling to soil.
All right, this is the action-oriented phase of our explainer where we actually get our hands dirty. Now, what's really interesting about this measurement, 6 to 9 millimeters, is that it is exactly the thickness of a standard pencil. When your seedlings reach 6 to 9 millimeters in thickness and are about 30 centimeters tall, which usually happens after 6 to 8 weeks, that is your visual cue. It tells you they are strong enough and perfectly ready to be transplanted to their permanent home. But wait, actually, scratch that. Don't just shove them in the dirt yet. You need to prep them first. Step 1, trim the roots down to about 1 to 2.5 centimeters. Step 2, trim the top leaves back by about 1/3. Why do we do this? Well, trimming them reduces transplant stress, it prevents the roots from drying out, and it actively stimulates the stem to grow thicker. Once that's done, step 3, plant them using a dibber or a trowel about 3 to 4 centimeters deep. Spacing is absolutely vital here. You want to keep a distance of 15 to 20 centimeters between individual plants and give the rows about 20 to 30 centimeters of breathing room. Leeks are incredibly demanding when it comes to light. If you crowd them together and block their sunlight, they suffer from etiolation, which is a fancy way of saying the stems become abnormally thin, weak, and practically useless. So, give them their space. Section 4. Care tips and pest solutions. Nurturing and defending. Now that they are safely in the ground, we enter the maintenance phase. First up, the nurturing. If you take away just one thing about leek care, let it be this. They are incredibly thirsty plants. Leeks have very shallow root systems, which means they simply cannot reach down to deep groundwater. You need to maintain a massive 80 to 90% soil moisture. Practically, that means watering every 7 to 10 days in the heat of late summer, and then stretching it to every 10 to 14 days as you get into fall. We are talking about 30 to 35 cubic meters of water per decare. Seriously, whatever you do, never let them dry out.
Beyond watering, you're going to want to hoe the soil 7 to 10 days after planting, going about 6 to 7 centimeters deep to aerate those shallow roots. And here is a secret technique used by master gardeners. It's called earthing up, or hilling. As the plant grows, you gradually bury the base of the stem with soil. By blocking the light from the stem, you get those beautiful, tender, white leek bases that taste so sweet. Oh, and don't forget to feed them. An organic 1 to 10 ratio of fresh manure diluted in water provides a really incredible nutrient boost.
Now for the defense. Every garden has its villains, right? For leeks, the biggest threats are the leek moth and the leaf miner fly. The leaf miner is especially dangerous because its third and fourth generations will attack right in the fall, literally burrowing into the stems to overwinter. If you have to use chemical sprays, you absolutely must add an adhesive to your mixture. If you don't, the spray is just going to slide right off the leek's naturally waxy leaves. Now, if you're facing underground threats like moles and rodents, organic solutions are fantastic. You can use ultrasonic devices or even plant castor beans to create a natural toxic barrier around the perimeter of your crop.
Section 5. Harvesting and winter storage. Reaping the rewards.
So, you've watered, you've hilled, and you've defended your crop against the bugs. Finally, it's time to reap the rewards. Now, while leeks can survive a freeze, you definitely don't want them locked in a solid block of ice when you actually want to eat them. You need to extract them in late October or November, right before the permanent ground freeze solidifies the soil. Always, always use a fork or a spade to gently lift them out, because pulling them by hand can just snap the stems. Once they're out of the ground, trim those roots by half and cut the top leaves down to about 15 to 20 centimeters to get them prepped for storage. To keep them crisp and fresh, you have 3 highly effective options. First, you can go old school. Dig an outdoor trench, lay the leeks at an angle, cover the roots with dirt, and pile thick straw on top to protect them from the frost. Second, you can bring them inside into a cool cellar, placing them upright in deep pots filled with damp sand at 0 to 1 degree Celsius. That damp sand brilliantly mimics their natural environment. Or third, for modern convenience, you can just slice them into rings, blanch them in boiling water for exactly 2 minutes, cool them off fast, and throw them straight into the freezer. So, I leave you with this final thought. Are you ready to transform your dormant winter garden into a genuine nutritional powerhouse? We've seen their incredible resilience, we've walked through the step-by-step logic, and we've talked about the high-yield nutritional benefits that winter leeks offer. It's such an efficient, sustainable way to keep your green thumb active all year round. Get out there, prep that soil, and enjoy the harvest. Just a quick disclaimer before we officially wrap things up. Gardening outcomes can vary quite a bit based on your individual climate, your soil, and other environmental conditions. So always consult your local agricultural resources or extension offices for advice that's personalized to your specific region. Thank you so much for joining me in this explainer, and happy planting.